The White House has just released a note from the president's doctor, and it says, from Dr. Sean Conley, and it says that the president was treated on Saturday for a routine planned interim checkup as part of the regular primary preventive care he receives throughout the year. And after apparently watching CNN tonight, where they had Dr. David Shiner on, who was Barack Obama's physician in Chicago before Barack Obama became president, David Shiner referred to the possibility that the president had a cardiac issue or even a neurological issue. This is a direct response to that. This note says, the president has not had any chest pain, nor was he evaluated or treated for any urgent or acute issues. Specifically, he did not undergo any specialized cardiac or neurologic evaluations. Jim Messina is back with us. He is a former deputy chief of staff in the Obama White House. Jim, you know how presidents deal with doctors and deal with physical exams. How does this all read to you?
Not great, Lawrence. You know, one of the reasons why I love your show is you're very careful about words. And if you look at the statement, they said routine planned visit. And then one sentence later said, because of scheduling irregularities, we did this, you know, we wanted it all to be off the record. You can't have both of those things be true. And if it was a routine planned thing, you'd never do it at Walter Reed. You would have done all that stuff at the White House facilities, which are state of the art and amazing. If it was just routine stuff, you never would have taken him out. And if you were going to take him for a routine visit to Walter Reed, you would have announced it. You would have had you would have had a photo op with the troops. You would have done a bunch of things that are regular to do. The second problem, Lawrence, is this is the problem when you have a White House who lies about everything, is you can't believe about anything. I mean, as you know, during the campaign, they trotted out his personal doctor to issue a statement which we later know was written by Trump himself and was completely garbage. And then we had the famous Ronnie Jackson press conference saying he was the healthiest president of all time, when clearly that's not true. So you just have an absolute sense that all of this is lying. And when you trot out a 10 p.m. memo from a doctor, you know that they're likely worried about something. And the problem is, the truth is probably that there's something nefarious going on.
And Jim, quickly before we go, there's the additional element of we have not seen the president. And when this kind of controversy erupts, one of the very first things I would think you would do is say, let's get the president on camera. Let's show him. Let's show that he's doing just fine. And that's something Donald Trump inviting in the cameras is something they do all the time, but not since he's gone to the hospital.
Yeah, it's his favorite thing in the world. Him being on TV is what he loves more than breathing. So the easiest thing would be to trot him out, at the White House and do a quick photo op. Anything would be easy. And why didn't they do that? And, when you start having unnamed doctors trying to cover something up, you start to wonder what's going on in the White House again.
Jim Messina, thank you very much for joining us with your expert opinion on this and other matters. We appreciate it. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on the button below for more from The Last Word and the rest of MSNBC.